Okay, so we're on a roll here with now occult video number 2, Divination Dilemma. Now, the Divination Dilemma is something that I've thought about for over a year now. I've put it to the side. I've thought about it some more and then put it to the side. And so I at least want to get it out because I'd like to see what others think about it. When I say divination, a lot of people think of, tarot, runes, I Ching, geomancy. There's plenty. I actually think there's a list of hundreds of different divination practices, but as it goes for basically the main ones, people usually go to tarot. That's a main one over here in the West. But here's the problem that I always saw with divination. If you take upon the premise, you can divine a situation that's going to happen. That must mean that it's set in stone to some degree. And so if we can see something that's going to happen, what can we really do about changing it? Because if we can see what happens, what's the point? See, if I can divine a situation, let's say how my next YouTube video is going to go, but then also someone else divines it, and then they see how it's going to go. And let's say we both got the same reading technically, and they wanted to work against me. You know what I'm saying? This is where you get into a weird, iffy spot with this. And so you can't really say that there's complete free will. Otherwise, that would throw astrology out of the water. And that would throw, obviously, divination completely out of the water because you wouldn't be able to tell situations. And so you're left to reconcile this. Okay, so my camera's memory hit full because I accidentally forgot to delete my last video on there. But now we're back. So I was talking about basically there's a couple of ways you could reconcile this. You could just completely throw divination out of the water, not rely on it. I'm cool with that method because, let's say you can tell the future or you can see how a situation might go. I don't want to know. I like being surprised and learning through situations and learning how to attack them full on without being so prepared by them. It's like, people will overstress themselves trying to pick apart an interview before they go in for a job interview. It's like, just go in, relax, and be yourself. That's how it goes the best usually. And that's what you're definitely doing whenever you're throwing divination out of the water. But let's say you don't want to. Here's how I look at it. You see, let's take tarot. So you've got essentially 78 different ways to look at a problem. That's one of the ways that I take it. See, you can get into trouble. I know people who completely take tarot as a guiding force of their life, and it can tend to screw them up. And you could say, well, Hayden, how do you not know that if they didn't go that way, that their life would have been more screwed up? You see, you can have people who meet somebody new, and they're not too sure about them, and so they'll do a reading and get a really negative reading, and then leave the person judged on that instead of actually how the person is or having some real evidence or some real reason to leave them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people get into sticky situations with divination. A lot of people actually, you can go online and you can actually listen to people talk about times that they screwed themselves through bad reading, so to speak. This is why you can go to 10 tarot and palm readers down the alley, and they'll all give you something different. Oh, you're going to have 2 children, this and that. And I know a lot of occultists want to be like, oh, well, those are the charlatans. Everyone wants to always point to the other one as being the charlatan. But you cannot divine a situation and then hope to change that situation if you could actually get it from divination. Does that make sense? Because if you're divining a situation, that means it's there in time. Technically, all you can do is prepare up to it. And that's what a lot of people will do. A lot of people look at it as inevitable. But I don't like that. You can still get into trouble that way. And so, what would I do? Well, as I said in the previous video, when you meditate and you alter your consciousness in different ways, you can think differently. You can think from a different side. It's almost as if a different version of you is thinking for you. This is what I think is behind the phenomenon of spirit talking and talking with spirits and getting information from spirits. You're just in a different type of perspective for a moment, and you're seeing things a little bit differently. And so, do I see any weight in divination and tarot and runes and all that? Absolutely. This is why you go about it one of two ways. You could either completely ditch divination, Or how I'd look at it is, let's say that you've got a big date coming, or let's say you've got a big promotion coming up. It's you versus someone else. You shuffle the tarot cards or whatever, and you got to remember, there's always going to be a bottom card. And yes, I know you can pick the bottom card, but either way, if you're picking one card or you're picking 3 cards, let's say you're picking 3 cards, there's 75 that you're technically not picking. It's like any type of race. There's always going to be that last place. Even if everybody finishes within like a few milliseconds of each other, there will still always be that last place. And so if the truth to a situation lies in the pack of cards, and you don't think that it's a possibility that you could not pick one of those cards, you're sadly mistaken. So, again, how would I use this to my advantage? Well, what I would honestly do is, let's say, like I said before, you got a big promotion coming up, you versus somebody. Shuffle it, pick one. If you're well known to tarot enough, you can pick out a card, and the correspondences and different things start flooding in automatically. This can get you to look at the situation under a different light, get you to reconsider things. You could be thinking of ways to get money at your job, and you're just thinking of, should I get more hours? Should I get more money? Or should I just move jobs? And so you're doing a divination. You're thinking along those parameters. And so you might end up seeing within the cards, oh, I should get another job, or I should do this. But what if you use something else for divination? Let's say runes, and the way that you interpreted it was you need to get people on board. And so you're thinking to yourself, what does that mean to yourself? So you go to your job and you find out that the more people that you get hired, you get paid a good $300 or $400 if they stay there for 2 months. And that could be a really good and easy way. Just cycle in 2 new people a month to get yourself easy money. Let's say half of them stays. It's like every month you're getting a good $300. So you use divination as a way to see things from different angles, to speculate about them. Take them as seriously as a cigarette thought. Like you're out on a smoke break and you're thinking of something in a different way. Take it as seriously as that. When you think of divination as this is guessing something that's actually specifically going to happen, or it's going to happen along these lines, you limit yourself from thinking about the other 77 cards. Does this make sense? I really hope it does, because it's something that I've pondered about for, as I said, over a year now. I haven't really talked to many people about it. I don't know too many occultists, to be honest, other than online and a few in real life. But I tend not to talk about these matters too much. So I'd like to know what all of you think. Comment below your experience in divination, where it's gotten pretty spookily correct, where synchronicity has had its way with you, where, it's screwed you. I'd like to hear about that too. We should all be talking about these things. I mentioned in the first video, magic is a subjective art, okay? And so I'm going to uphold that throughout this little cult playlist for as long as I don't find anything that contradicts it. I'm not going to be set into thinking that. So I want you to take it to thought, try using divination as this tool, because then in that case you could pick a card, meditate on it for 10 minutes, and then the next day, same situation, bring in another card, and another one, and another one. You can go through the whole pack, think about it all those different ways. This is why people in the occult will actually say that astrology is not divination. Because that, oh God, interpreting that is like looking at a haystack and guessing if there is a needle or a thread or a pin. There might not be any. It might just be hay. There might be a shovel inside for all you know. But either way, I want you to consider this when it comes to divination, especially if the basic premise is that, things are set in stone. That's what astrology says, in a sense. Astrology fits more into a deterministic mindset, not a free will mindset, and I want everyone to really consider that. And so if you can pick a card and it's going to say what's going to happen, what the fuck are you going to do about it? Why would you want to know? And if that's the way you want to do it, by all means, I'm not going to stop you. As I said, this isn't an occult playlist to be like, oh, this is right and this is wrong and this is how you do it. I simply just want to add to people's practice. I want to fill in some gaps that, people might be pondering about as well. Either way, I'm trying not to make these as long anymore. Here's the news for the channel, so if you don't give a shit, just click off now. I'm still waiting on 2 different individuals for the next HYHO video, and so I'm not sure when that's going to come out. I've been waiting, and so I haven't really planned a somewhat bigger video. As I said, I've got a few lined up for the People Suck video. I've got a good few amount of non-occult videos in mind. I just haven't had time to actually plan them, as I've been really saving the time and energy for the HYHO, and I still haven't gotten hit back up yet. And so I don't have too much time, which is why today I just kind of picked out a good 30 minutes to talk about divination with y'all. Either way, I hope to get back as fast as I can. If you haven't subscribed already, go subscribe, hit the notification button. You've been on YouTube before, you know how it goes. Either way, I will for you all to prosper and have a great day.